What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Box Out Boys podcast. We are the NBA podcast of the people, your home for lukewarm takes and substandard analysis. I'm Titus Two Shots Dominguez, and joining me tonight, it's Chris, the Stats Man Gorman. Hit him with the stats, Chris.
Hey. I don't have a stat tonight. I'd like to take my time to just mention Chandler Hutchinson has officially retired from the NBA. Four-year Bull. 26 years old. He's hanging it up. So,
hanging it up.
See you, Chandler.
Cool story, bro. What an amazing. He's got retirement stats, folks. Just get ready. But you know, he bleeds red. He sees Bulls. It's the lawn ball straight across. And get that, Joe.
USA.
Say you bleed football right now. Currently.
Football, soccer,
football. Soccer. Yeah, all right. We're going hard on the soccer. The hard R soccer.
Soccer.
That was an unfortunate joke. All right. Anyway, Adam is not here. He's feeling down, a little under the weather. He's got the cold that's going around. So, Adam, feel better. And you know, sorry we couldn't give you any work tonight, but that is what it is. All right, we got a lot to talk about tonight. We're checking in on the roller coasters. That is our two favorite teams. We're gonna do a little real and fake tonight. We're gonna do a little bit of a team eliminator, new thing we want to try out this season. We're going to talk about some big returns coming up and then talk about the trends that are happening in the league right now. So our first question up tonight, who's having the wilder roller coaster between our two teams, the Bulls and the Wolves? Joey, let's go to you, man. The Bulls have been up and down, to say the least, surprisingly beating the good teams and losing to bad teams. So kind of the last few games, losses to the Pels, to Denver a loss, Orlando a loss, but then wins over Boston and Milwaukee, and then a drop into OKC. So, man, what do you make of the last 2 weeks since we've been on the air?
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm just going to read a few stats from the last 5 games here. So, God, it's painful. All right, Kobe White, the loss at Orlando. Kobe White, 0-1 for 0 points. Loss at Oklahoma City, 2 of 6 for 6 points. The win at Boston, 2 of 8 for 8 points. Kind of the anomaly. The win against Milwaukee, 5 of 10 for 14, and at Utah, 6 of 9 for 15 points. If that
Kobe's the key?
That doesn't describe the roller coaster feeling that right now they're living and dying on some, bench mob points. And, I think this was always the hope for Kobe, was that, he would be the one to do it. Still slightly inconsistent, right? A 2 of 6, 0 for 1, and the 2 of 8, but then you get the 5 of 10 in the 6 of 9 game. And it's kind of, you can't quite depend on it yet, but there's some flashes, but outside of him, everybody else is kind of doing the same things, right? DeMar is still putting up his numbers. Zach has been pretty consistent since the 1 of 14 game where he got benched. Vooch has been consistent. Everybody's been just very consistent. But when Kobe comes in and seems to kind of play good, they're getting some flashes. And in a few of those games, I mean, he hit big shots, right? I mean, he wins them the game in Milwaukee.
Yeah, 3.
He probably does the same in the game in Utah, at least kind of seals it for them. And then outside of DeMar kind of losing his mind in Oklahoma City in overtime on Shea, they're on a 4-game winning streak right now to start this road trip. And, things are looking pretty good, right? The 4-game losing streak, 4-game winning streak. So it is absolutely a roller coaster. They need consistency still just in a point guard. They need better 3-point shooting, more consistent 3-point shooting, and they need a capable forward. Patrick Williams has shown, again, roller coaster, right? He's shown flashes of some good games, but just not consistent enough. The defense has been pretty decent, but they're just not getting consistent offense. So it's been up and down. It's kind of what we expected. Where they're at in the standings is probably not where we expected, but it's very tight right now. They're 2 games back or 1.5 games back from the play-in. So it's not completely lost at this point, but they need to find just a nice level playing field and keep the intensity up. They've kind of turned the corner since the loss in Orlando on the intensity, at least. So that at least makes them a fun watch versus a painful watch where they were at for a few games there.
Yeah, they were having a real rough stretch there, and with those losses in particular, where that schedule looked a little bit weak, not weak, but like they could have made some moves there, and instead, like you said, they're sitting in 12th place. Obviously, not out of it just yet. With the game and a half back, it's not that bad, but definitely not where they wanted to be. Chris, do you notice any trends with the Bulls or anything? I try to look for trends like Joey was saying. Bench seemed to be kind of the correlation to some of their wins, but other than that, I really couldn't see anything that popped out to my eye.
There's no trend with this team right now. I am glad I live in these are one of the times I'm fortunate that I live in a state where gambling is not legal. Because if I tried, I would be gambling on the Bulls and I'd be losing every single night. They beat the Bucks, they lose to the Thunder, they beat the Jazz, but they lose the Magic. They beat the Celtics. It makes no sense what this team is doing right now, and the fact that they are the record they are kind of makes sense. But like with those wins, when they beat the Bucks, that was a good win. Yeah, honestly, was looking really good. They beat the Celtics. Anytime you beat the Celtics, that's a good win. Celtics are only lost 4 games.
Top 2 teams in the league. I think it was only lost in like 13 games that lost to the Bulls. So.
Right, and then the Jazz. I mean, it was Lauri's revenge game. He looked great for a half, and then barely got that 30.5 over by himself. So I'm fine with the Bulls. The Bulls are in a good spot. It's all been predicated on if Lonzo Ball can come back, and if he can, and kind of be anything that he was. A lot of things can happen with this team. If he doesn't, then we're kind of going to see this throughout the whole season. That's it.
And that's kind of in the situation. I'm kind of with you there. The Wolves have also been kind of on their up and down. They had it was about a 5-game win streak there, and then dropped 3 in a row.
Yeah,
with wins over Cleveland, Orlando, Philly, Miami. So good wins. Indiana, who's been playing really good with Halliburton having a nice run.
Yeah,
here. But then losses to Charlotte, Washington. Golden State. Okay, sure, they're kind of streaking right now, but some tough losses. So what are you seeing kind of from Minnesota side of it? And obviously the cat injury is going to come into play as they go through the next couple of weeks here, but. What are you seeing on their side?
So after that Pacers win, I was pumped. I sent you guys the starting box score. Everyone got 15 points at the start of the game. Yes. First time I'm sure that's happened for them this year. Didn't confirm that, but I can confidently say that it's been all downhill since then. They go to Charlotte and lose by only 2, but I'm pretty sure that game was like a 20-point game. They've been down like by 25 points in each of the last 3 games, which is very worrisome. Yes, they are trailer trash, and they still lost to them. The Golden State Warriors, they're trying to flip it around. I kind of give them benefit of the doubt there. But then the Wizards, they were down by 30 to the Wizards at one point in that game, and it never looked close. So, and the biggest concern with them being down is the fact when you're losing, and you're a professional athlete, sometimes you're like, yeah, whatever, it happens. But like every time they're down by like 25 points in the game, you see Edwards and D'Angelo Russell on the side just like laughing it up. It's like, you guys are down by 20 points right now. Like, could you imagine? Like, how can you feel that way? It's just like there's no fight in this team. Anthony Edwards before the season was always talking about how he wants to be on the all defense team, and he's not. He's given an effort half the time. He's not going to, not with that kind of effort. He's not going to make it. So I'm disappointed with this team. It feels like the chemistry left with the Gobert trade, and it's not. I am lower than I have ever been with this Timberwolves team. I'm hoping, with Towns being out, it'll be interesting to see how this team. It's interesting because maybe having an injury will help this team gel more because other guys have to step up as opposed to have everyone there and then trying to like figure it out. Just like it'll be. I don't think it'll be as big of a loss. Like it can't get much worse. Well, it could, but like
Minnesota. It seems like they've been streaky. Like they put together some wins and then they drop games, and they put together a streak of wins, drop games. So, and I think like what you're saying, it just seemed to be like effort, kind of vibes there more than anything really kind of, at least on the basketball court. They've been fairly successful on both sides of the ball at times, and they're just struggling to kind of put the pieces together consistently and have a consistent run. I'm kind of with you. I wonder with Karl Anthony out or Towns out for, a couple games here. I forget how long.
4 to 6 weeks.
4 to 6 weeks. Yeah. So, for a while here, maybe that slots Gobert into more traditional role like he's used to in Utah. Maybe then, it can go all through the Ant-Man, man. So, he can kind of take over here and maybe carry them and
flip the floor a little bit more.
Yep.
Let him get it. He's had maybe 1 dunk this year. So
yeah,
let's get some more dunks in his portfolio this season.
Use that pick and roll. It could be something. So, I guess maybe let's answer this question a little bit, Joey, to you. What do you think is kind of worse, the streakiness of Minnesota, where they put together 5 wins and then drop 3, or is it kind of just the chaos that is the Bulls, where you're not sure night to night which team you're going to get?
I feel like I take the Bulls, and not just as a homer. Like at least they're like when they're losing close games. They're very rarely getting blown out right now. The loss to Orlando was a 1-point loss, but like looking at Minnesota, like on their little win streak, right, keeping the opponents under 110 seemed to be the key. But then, like Chris mentioned, they gave up 142 to the Wizards and 137 to Golden State, and like that makes it almost like unwatchable, right? When you're down by 20 and you're giving up 140 points, like that's got to be really frustrating. I think staying in games, like, and that was the problem with the Bulls last year, especially against the good teams, right? Like they were getting just completely run out of gyms in games. And while they've lost some games, they definitely should have won this year. They've kept the embarrassments to a minimum, I would say.
Yeah.
And on the national stage, they've performed much better. I mean, they were like 1-14 against the top teams last year, and they're probably like 3-2 so far this year, right?
Yeah.
2 wins over Boston, win over Milwaukee, a loss to Boston, and a loss to Philly. So I mean,
you'll take it.
They're competing at the top. That doesn't. I don't know what that means, but for now, I'll take it.
Yeah,
Chris,
I think
agree?
being a Timberwolves fan, I agree, because I think being a Timberwolves fan right now, it's probably the most frustrating fan to be, because they had such high expectations.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing too.
And we're at the same point that we were last season. The Timberwolves were, and but the expectations were so different. And this year, it's like, it's just not, it's not good. They
felt like they were for sure going to be a top 6 team, flirting maybe with that top 4, and that just doesn't seem to be the case, at least right now. So
they're the worst. Yeah, there's 11 teams in the West, and they're the worst one that are trying, and they're the worst one.
Yeah. Well, let's keep it rolling to some more ups and downs. Let's do a little real and fake for some players who have been kind of streaking as of late. The big one here is AD, who's been absolutely balling out. He's leading the league in rebounds right now. His percentages in 3 points are up. His points per game is up. 3-point percentage is up. Shooting percentages across the board I think are all up for him. So he's been absolutely doing doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's being on the court and he's balling out as opposed to being injured and not available. What do you think, Chris? Do you think is that real? Is this something that's going to continue through the rest of the season, or is this kind of another?
It's nice to see Anthony Davis back playing basketball again. He always complained about being a center, but he's like, you know what? I guess this is what we got. I'm going to do. I'm going to lead the league in rebounds. I'm going to be that bully man. I'm not going to shoot any more threes. I'm going to get a 57 field goal percentage, which his career is 51. So it's crazy to see that high.
Yeah.
He's got the most points per game right now that he's ever had in the last 4 seasons since 2017 in New Orleans. Anthony Davis, it's nice that he's back. It's funny because like they've got LeBron, Russell, and Anthony Davis, and then like Lonnie Walker, the fourth is, that's it. And that's why this team is still losing games, because Anthony Davis is doing it. But the real question is, he's played 17 games. Is he going to get over 50 games this year? Because can he really keep up this kind of intensity? Like, it's proven to be not the case ever in his career. So I like seeing it now, but I'm not optimistic for the whole season with him.
Joey, what do you think, man? You think this is real? You think, in a few weeks we get a little nick and bruise here?
I think it's real. I think
the
17 games, I think he's missed 2 so far out of their total games.
Yeah.
That's better than it's been for the past couple of years. And just like Chris said, like seeing him actually play basketball and like be a dominant force on the floor, like it seems that he's fitting into the role that they were hoping, right? If LeBron kind of starts to fade, not fade, but slowly, fade. Starts to fade. Anthony Davis is the next guy, right? That's what they wanted to be the cornerstone when LeBron is done. And, maybe with LeBron kind of doing that already, Davis is kind of stepping into that role. And he's better when he's the guy, right? I think that's always kind of the thing is he's not as good as he's a number 2. He's a great number 2, but when he gets to be the number 1, he can be your number 1 and give you everything you need. His impact on the floor is great. He's shooting the ball well, and if he stays healthy, it's going to be real. And so far, all those things are happening. So, give me the real.
I'm with you guys here. I think this is real. Let's see what happens. I don't know if it's going to matter for the Lakers season, but I think he might play good, which also shades of New Orleans. When he's balling out, it really didn't matter.
Right. Yeah.
So another guy we got that's kind of, in the similar vein is Porzingis. His percentages are up, a little bit around the board. Scoring's about the same as it was last year, maybe a little bit less. But he's been playing really, really well and consistently for the Washington Wizards. They're doing pretty good. I think they're in that top 6 area right now. Chris, what do you think, man? Is Porzingis going to?
I was watching him the other night because he was playing against the Minnesota Timberwolves, where he scored 41 points off of 6 of 10 from 3. The guy was on fire. Of course, Gobert's got great interior defense. Perimeter work has always been a little lacking, and Kristaps ate that up. I don't know. I don't think he's back. It's similar to like with Anthony Davis, where it's like I've never seen Kristaps really healthy, and it's nice to see him playing. If he plays 60+ games, that'd be really cool. I'll have to see it to believe it. I'm not gonna. I would never actually say. Yeah.
What do you think, Joey? I mean, like, could he maybe flirt with like an all-star position or something like that? Is that something that's possible this season, or no?
Yeah. I don't know. I think in terms of big men in the East, he's probably gonna struggle to fit on the all-star side. Will he be?
Who's ahead of him? Or Embiid?
Giannis.
Giannis.
Mobley.
Jared Allen.
I mean, Durant's technically a front court player.
But
yeah, I mean,
he's in there.
He's in the mix.
He's kind of in there. Yeah.
He's in the mix.
I mean, Bam's probably
Bam.
there. Yeah.
Bam. Yeah, I think I'm with Chris though. You have to see it to believe it. Like he's done this before, right? Where he's had streaks of like, the whole unicorn thing, and it always kind of comes back down to earth with an injury or just skill, ability to continue doing what he's doing. So, can we like not call it like fake, but like pretending? Like it's like it's not a complete fraud, but it's like I'm just kind of pretending right now. I'm not sure if I'm going to be fake or real.
I'm just sort of pretending to be real.
It's pretending it's fake, so maybe it's just fake.
It's just fake.
This is fake.
This is fake. I'm kind of with you guys. I mean, I think he can maybe be consistent throughout the season if he, whatever. They don't really have the pressure there in Washington or anything like that. But I can kind of see this falling off towards the, once he starts to get some games under his belt there. So, and one last guy we can see if he's real or fake. This will be fun. Ben Simmons, man, over the last 7-8 games, playing pretty well. Scoring over 10 points, hit 20 a couple of times. Assists are back up. He was having like 3 assist games there for a while. Now he's kind of consistently around 5-6 assists. So he's got to get those numbers way up to help my bet from earlier in the season. And then of course now he's out with the injury for a few games. But Joey, you're kind of maybe the biggest Ben Simmons hater here. Do you think this is at all real, or is this just nothing from him?
So I came up with the pretending thing when I was doing this one, and I think that it fits there. But like, all right, so over the past, I think it was like 5 or 6 games, he shot like 84% from the floor, 36 of 43. Like that's not going to continue.
Yeah, not at that level.
This is not going to happen. So it depends, like how you're rating Ben Simmons, right? Are you rating him as a scorer, or are you rating him as like staying healthy and being a playmaker? Because if he's going to stay healthy, like pretending probably playmaker, I think that's real. I think that's kind of come back, and he's shown the ability to do that regularly. But I'm not sold on him staying healthy because he's out again, and B, like he's going to continue to shoot at that level. So it's a mixed bag for me. I don't think it's fully fake, but I wouldn't be buying into the Ben Simmons is back game yet.
Chris, what do you think, man? Simmons?
This is the fakest fake thing that's ever been faked. This guy, okay, he had 6 great games, and he started 4 of them. He had 22 points. He had 3 assists, and he has 2 double doubles in these games. I'm sorry, I'm out on this guy so hard because I feel like people who defend him are like holding his hand and making him seem like he's an 8-year-old child that's like trying to get back into the NBA. This guy's a professional athlete who's 26 years old. And for some reason, when he plays more than 30 minutes for 8 games in a row, he gets hurt and has to sit out for a week or two. I'm so done with fucking Ben Simmons. Like he was finally getting it together just a little bit, and maybe he's gonna turn the corner, get it exciting. But no, No, he's got to get hurt again because give him a break. He's been out for a year and a half. Like, no, I'm done. He is a professional athlete that should be playing. And he's not. And it's like, stop holding his hand. This guy. It's
just let it out, Chris.
So frustrating.
I'm the Ben Simmons hater.
He is one of the most talented athletes that have ever embraced the NBA, and he's just utilizing it in such a crap way because his head's not in it. He's 26. Chandler Hutchison just retired today. Maybe he'll retire at the end of the season. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, for Ben Simmons because this guy could care less.
Big Daddy Kumquat's with you. Simmons, fake.
He could be,
He can be consistent, engaged. Freaking stay on the court. I hate this guy. What the F? You know what? I will stand for no Ben Simmons slander on this podcast. You guys know I love him. You know what? He showed signs. All right. He's coming back. I will hold his hand and bring him back on.
Kobe White showed signs. Kobe White's had
right.
six day game streaks before.
Ending.
Yeah. I think back to like the actual. All right. Actually, this thing. I think kind of what Joey was saying, he's not quite real, not quite fake, but I think if he's, a 10 to 15 point per game scorer, 6 to 7 assists, I think that can be real. I don't think a lot of that shooting percentages are real. I don't think 20 points per game is real. He hit that once in that stretch, but I think he can be, a decent piece. Whether that actually helps Brooklyn or not, who knows? But he does have to stay on the court. All right, we got a fun question from Baskets here, and then we can move into our next questions. Baskets always with the fun questions. What NBA player do you think would be most successful in the Squid Game?
Okay.
This is a tough one. I'm thinking here.
First player that came to mind for me is TJ McConnell, or like Jose Alvarado.
Oh, that's a good one.
I think I'll go with Jose Alvarado because he's
Cutthroat.
been such a scrappy, heady kind of guy that. Yeah, cutthroat kind of man. So, give me Jose Alvarado.
I was thinking Steph Curry. That's who I thought. I thought he's got, got a little swag to him. Can maybe figure some stuff out. He's not going to, he's a smart, heady player. Sneaky athletic. Joey, you got an answer for this one?
No.
Did you watch Squid Game?
Yeah, he hasn't watched Squid Game yet.
I never watched.
Joey,
man.
Joey no shows. That's what we should call him. Joey
no shows. That's fine. That's fair.
He doesn't
We
watch.
should do an Ice Road Truckers question next time.
What about Grayson Allen?
Grayson Allen. Oh, that would be a good one. No, Grayson Allen would be good, but he might piss people off.
Backstabbing.
He's the villain of the show.
He's that one dude. Yeah, he's the one dude with the tattoo on his face.
There you go. See,
he would just kill himself in spoilers.
Spoiler for Squid Games.
2 years later.
Yeah, it's better. We have another fun little question thing we're going to start trying to do here. Team Eliminator. So we're about a quarter of the way through the NBA season. We feel like we can eliminate some teams. So we're going to eliminate them about a quarter at a time. So there are, what is it? It's 20 teams that make the playoffs.
Correct.
So that leaves 12 teams that will not make the playoffs, or 13 teams. I forget exactly what the number is, but so we're going to eliminate 3 at a time. So after the first quarter, we're going to eliminate 3 teams. And we're going to decide to say they're out of the playoffs. There's no chance they're making them. We're going to see if we're right throughout the season. The goal here is to not get a team wrong. So then halfway through the season, we'll add 3 more teams to this, and we'll see if we can stack it up and see if we can predict this thing, see if we can get it right. Do you guys want me to give you the 3 teams that I came up with?
Sure. We all have our own 3. We'll probably be mostly consistent, but
I feel like we should decide on 3.
There's one team that if you guys have them on the list, I'll defend it. But
okay. So, all right, I'll start. The 3 teams that I have Orlando, Detroit, and Charlotte. Sorry.
You went all East?
I went all East.
Orlando.
So the reason why these teams are all the farthest back out of the races. So while there's some really shitty teams in the Western Conference, they're not as far back from their respective playoff races, where Orlando's back 12 games. Detroit is back 13 games. Charlotte is back 11 games. Those guys are not going to get back.
That's all because of Boston.
But I just think I just think they're not. I probably should have checked how far they're out of the playoffs. I did not check that part. But.
So Detroit's 5 games out of the 10 seed. Orlando is 5 games, and Charlotte is 4 games.
So how are we looking how's that compared to the West?
It's similar to the West, kind of.
Yeah, Houston is 6 games. And the Spurs are 5 games.
So okay. So not as consistent as I thought, or not as big a gap as I thought. You're right. Boston is the kind of what's going on there.
So the only team I'll defend, I only have one of those teams on my list.
Okay.
And the only team I will defend, Joey was right, are the Orlando Magic.
Okay.
Bol, guys. We're all getting excited about Victor Wembanyama coming to the league. We have Victor Wembanyama. It's Bol. The guy's getting steals, pulling up from 3 and dropping it on dudes. He's one of the most fun guys to watch in the league. Paulo Banchero, once he comes back, he's one of the most fun guys in the league to watch. Jonathan Isaac might make an appearance at some point. Speaking of guys that don't care to play in the NBA anymore. And, Jalen Suggs. Dude, Jalen Suggs looked great against the Bulls. Remember that, Joey? Sorry about that. But
where was that? What? I didn't deserve that.
Joey catching strays in the middle of Team Eliminator. What is going on, guys?
I literally didn't throw Orlando on the list because I agree with everything you said.
Joey, you remember the Bulls when the Bulls had a shit game against Orlando? You remember that?
Jesus Christ!
That was hard. Franz has. Anyways, I want to keep watching Orlando, and I don't want to. Even though I don't.
Okay, you talk.
Believe in them, but I just don't want to. Yeah.
I'm gonna take them off my list. Joey, did you have any? Who'd you have? Did you have those teams?
I had Detroit, Houston, and San Antonio.
Okay. That's my list too.
That's your list too.
Yeah, Detroit, just with the injuries to Cade and Jaden Ivey, like they're just like they need those guys at full strength. And when they were at full strength, they still weren't winning games, even though it was early on in the season. San Antonio feels like they're doing exactly what they wanted to do finally. Like they showed some competency, but now they're just casually losing games. They're 1-9 in their last 10, so that's good. And then the Rockets are just the Rockets. I mean, they're gonna catch a game here and there, but it's not sustainable.
The Rockets is that team is like if you lose to them, it's like you lost to the Rockets.
Yeah,
like really.
Yeah, like name 3 people on the Rockets, not Chris, not you.
Oh come on,
I can't. No,
exactly.
Jalen Green. That's the guy.
Jabari Smith is looking like a bust. Number 2 overall pick. Alperun Sengun still looking good for MIP right now.
Cool.
Kevin Porter Jr. is fine.
What are we doing? Just listen players now?
That's 4 guys so far.
Listen names. I got more.
Said not.
Jay Sean Tate. He's on that
keep going.
Those are my 3 though. Detroit, Houston.
All right, you know what? I can. One, you guys talked me out of Orlando, and then Houston was on my maybe board anyway, so I'm good with that. And then obviously San Antonio's kind of.
But Titus, who was your? So you had Charlotte and
Charlotte was my other team.
So Charlotte or
Charlotte San Antonio.
They have the same record. They're both 6-15.
I mean, Charlotte feels terrible. I mean, I guess is LaMelo possibly coming back? I mean,
he's back, right? He's playing.
He's back.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to do anything. I know Gordon Hayward just went out, so I don't know how much of a big deal that is. But I don't know what they're doing.
So we've got another 3 picks coming up in the next quarter. So I think we go with for sure Detroit, Houston, San Antonio, and Charlotte will probably be the next easy pick. And by then we'll know if the Magic are going to make it happen or not.
LaMelo Ball's played 3 games this year.
Yeah,
that's tough.
I think he's out again.
Did he go back?
What is up with the Ball family? They're all
shoes, man.
Just
shoes, man.
Baller brand shoes.
The BBBs. Yeah.
Those BBBs tearing ankles up, man. Tearing ankles and knees, ligaments.
Terry Rozier, he's a trade candidate for
a guy.
for somewhere.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I think Charlotte. I think you're right, Joey. I think Charlotte's going to be like a seller here coming up. So let's see what they do. Let's hold on. I think you guys are right. I think those are the definites. Houston, San Antonio, and Detroit. I think those are for sure guys out. They will not be making any noise. Sad about Detroit. I was really high on them coming into the season.
It's really been injuries though for them mostly.
But like Joe was saying, they really weren't. They weren't really like looking great. They were just obviously the injuries just completely derailed the season.
Yeah.
So, hey, maybe they get Wembanyama, and then they're looking like
God. With him and Cade and Ivy.
That actually would be pretty good.
That would be scary.
After the Bulls.
All right, so our official Eliminator picks: Detroit, Houston, and San Antonio.
Bad for the Bulls.
Lock it in.
Lock it in. They will not be making the playoffs this year. All right, we'll be back in another 20, 25 games to add 3 more teams to that list. Crazy.
Charlotte, Los Angeles, Orlando.
Ooh, Los Angeles. Ooh, that's a
Charlotte, Los Angeles. What?
All right, so a prediction: Charlotte, Los Angeles, and Orlando. Hold on, I'm gonna write that down. Charlotte, Los Angeles. And
wait, where else? Where else are you going? Do you want me to take the Timberwolves, Chris?
I guess we do have to catch a stray here.
Yeah, somebody's.
We picked the easy ones. We got the easy ones out of the way.
Easy ones out of the way.
So,
yeah. It gets real tight. Real.
Well, it's definitely Charlotte, Orlando,
It's
and
gotta be
then
by conference, though. I think the East is going to be close enough that we could stray from the East for a minute
Yeah.
outside of those two and pick a team in the West because, like, the Lakers have a hole already. Got to.
Yeah, they're not.
They got a hole. They got to climb
I think
on.
I would still go under on the Thunder more.
Ooh, yeah, the Thunder are gonna be in the
But
mix.
I mean, Shea's been balling.
Yeah,
That dude
that's
should
the
be the
problem.
all-star
Shea is so
starter. I
good.
kind of want
At
to do
some
that to him.
point, does OKC just kind of
start to shut it down?
Yeah.
Well, you know what I think about? Actually, I was thinking about the Jazz.
They've got some.
The
I've
Jazz
still been
might be-
watching them, and they're not looking as electric or exciting as they were at the start of the season. They've lost 5 straight.
The Jazz are coming for our eliminator, so
it's just Kelly Olynyk. Seeing so much Kelly Olynyk on the court just rubs me the wrong way. I'm like, this guy shouldn't be playing 30 minutes a game.
And he scored 20 points in the second half against the Bulls. It's good.
Right? Yeah. So I don't know, man. I don't know about the Jazz.
All right, so we'll see if Joey can predict the next ones.
I'll say the Jazz instead of the Lakers.
All right, he says the Jazz instead of Lakers. I'll put that down. I'll put it in our notes, predictions. So in 20 games, we'll come back. We'll see what's up. All right, but we're going to our fourth question tonight. We got some returns coming up on the way, man. So some big names have been out for a while. James Harden, Damian Lillard, Chris Middleton, all are kind of planning returns in the next week, is what Joey was saying. Chris, I'll throw to you here for the first one. Who do you think is going to have the biggest impact going forward on their team? Harden coming back for the Sixers, Lillard coming back for Portland, or Middleton coming back for the Bucks?
Harden needs to come back.
Oh, all right.
Without him, the team is weird. Shake Milton's trying to do things for them. I can't even think of the other guy right now. Tobias Harris can only do so much. The guy is like Tobias Harris is so limited. He can only get 24 points in a game. It feels
mid,
like,
as the kids are saying.
He's absolutely that's the new phrase, right? Mid.
He's mid.
Even though he is 33 years old and he's averaging his second fewest points of his career since 2011. His third year in the league. James Harden needs to come back to Philly in order for this team to have that title chance. Without him, they're not going to go anywhere. Damian Lillard might not even be the best player on Portland anymore. Jeremy Grant.
Wow.
It's not true.
Yeah,
but Jeremy Grant has been just fantastic. And the guy plays. There's something to that.
Wow.
You're available and you're playing.
Here comes the
Jeremy
heat.
Grant.
Lillard mid. You heard it here at the Box Out Boys.
And then Middleton, he's not even mid. Middleton is fantastic.
The
thing is, the Bucks are just so great. Brook Lopez is Defensive Player of the Year so far, basically, right? And so, I don't know. You slowly bring Middleton back. It's fine. It's kind of what's happened with Kawhi. So
you're feeling Harden's going to be the biggest
impact. Harden, yeah.
Harden. Joey, what do you think, man? You agree with that, or do you think it's a little different?
I mean, Bucks are 14-5 without Middleton. 76ers this season 8-4 without Harden. Blazers 4-6 without Dame. So Chris, the stats, man. The stats don't lie. I think the Blazers need Dame back. It's just, I think you're probably right. Jeremy Grant may be becoming one of the better player on that team. He's available.
Joey, props to you for a second on you wanting to get Jeremy Grant on the Bulls, and you also want to get Jalen Brunson on the Bulls and being vindicated back to back. I feel like with players who we all thought were kind of mid, who are just killing it now with a bigger opportunity.
Thank you.
Take it in, Joey. The vindication.
Jeremy Grant's a painful one.
That one stings. I'm not gonna lie, that stings. Even me.
That one was there. Like that one seems like it was just so there. Brunson, I could see why you would have not pulled the trigger on that one, but the Jeremy Grant one was just sitting there waiting. Right, the Pistons were selling and whatever. If anything, for the Blazers, Dame's just another threat, right, for teams to have to pay attention to. Harden's obviously a threat, but Embiid controls so much of the game just with his size and dominance already that you don't necessarily need like another threat in Harden because he's doing it kind of without him. So I think it's Lillard. The least impactful, I think, is Middleton. The Bucks are doing obviously just fine without him. And I mean, even when he's there, like he was great, right, in their playoff run when they won the championship 2 years ago. But outside of that, like, would you say Chris Middleton has been like the deciding factor on that team of how they've come and gone? Like, no, it's Giannis.
But I think they need Middleton though to win.
I think they need him. Like,
in a playoff series, it's different. Right?
Like if Brook Lopez keeps playing the way he is, like I don't know, like out of those three, I think he's the least impactful, right? coming back to the team.
So he's
I
the
think
third
it's-
best. So you're saying Brook Lopez is more impactful than what Middleton is bringing to the team?
I mean,
You might not be wrong.
I mean,
he-
Lopez is
yeah.
balling.
I mean, he's getting like 4 blocks a game, 20-ish points. I mean, he's
Yep.
kind of falling out right now.
How old is Brook Lopez? We haven't talked. This is the first time we've even really mentioned Brook.
Look, I don't know.
Brooke.
30, 33, 35?
I'm with you, Joey.
He's
I think.
34.
I mean, originally I was thinking Lillard was probably going to be the most impactful. I mean, they were the Blazers are 3-7 in the last 10, and Lillard is 26 points per game right now. So when he comes back, obviously that's huge. But I'm going to make the case for Middleton because I feel like you guys are a little down on him, and I think as far as like impact for their wins, I don't think that is going to be a big impact. I don't think that's going to change, but I think it really solidifies them as the best team in the Eastern Conference having it. Like I think right now they're kind of neck and neck with Boston, and they've been that way. I think having Middleton there will sort of cement them as that team to beat in the Eastern Conference. And I think that kind of impact speaks to Middleton. I think he's just that other weapon, that other scorer that can take over if Giannis is having a tough game or missing shots. Same thing, if Grayson Allen doesn't have it going and stuff like that, or Drew. So
Javon Carter, who's been tearing it up, man.
I just think maybe we're underrating Middleton a little bit, which he hasn't played all season. So
I think, Tice, I think you're onto something with that because I feel like a lot of the burden has been put on Giannis to kind of carry the point load. I mean, we're watching that Chicago game. Like Giannis is just trying. All they're doing is bully. Giannis is trying to bully into the paint, right? Well, with Middleton, it kind of opens up the floor a little bit more.
Fair.
So,
yeah, in that sense,
Sure.
They're still winning without him. They're still a great team without him, obviously. But I think it really does put them up into a different level when he's there and healthy, and they have their full, complement of guys. So,
fun fact: Bobby Portis is averaging a double-double this season, first time in his career.
Man, another Bulls player that is no longer.
I miss you. Where are you?
All right, our last thing tonight. Our viewers just dropping as he sings "I Miss You" with Blink-182. I saw it. Let's talk about some team trends. Our last question tonight. Last topic, I guess. We got a few trends happening here. So Utah, who started red hot, kind of falling back to earth. 5 losses in a row, including to our Bulls. Get it? They're 2-8 in their last 10. Wow,
that okay.
Yeah,
it's
not going good for the Jazz. Like I was saying, they're coming for that eliminator spot. Also in the Western Conference, you got Portland, who's 3-7, all dropping off. I mean, they're getting Lillard back, so who knows? Golden State, 6-4 in their last 10. So starting to maybe kind of right the ship there. As far as those Western Conference teams go, and then we'll go into some Eastern Conference teams. What trends do you guys see as kind of being real? Joey, what do you think? I mean, is the Utah trend real? Are they going to kind of bounce back? Is Portland, real? Is Golden State? What trend is trending the way it's going to go?
I think the Utah trend is probably the way it's going to go. Like when they were playing really well, it was like, all right, you might as well try and keep playing well, right? Like,
yeah,
you're up there, stay up there if you can. But when you go 2-8 in 10 games and you start to slide down and your team is not built to compete long term, it doesn't make sense to try and get back to where they were to start the season. It doesn't add up. Like, why would they do that? And especially with the two teams below them in the standings, Dallas and Golden State, like,
oh yeah,
that trend is going to continue. I think Dallas and Golden State are on the upswing. They're going to keep playing better, especially Golden State. Steph I think he's having better numbers this season than he did in his unanimous MVP season. And that's unreal. Clay is playing really well again. They seem to be clicking.
Figuring it out a little bit.
I think they're more on the upswing, but I feel like it's hard to say like that's the biggest upswing or biggest trend just because it's Golden State. That's kind of what we expected. I think the Utah was more the surprise, and now they're coming back down to reality. I think that's probably the way that cookie is going to crumble.
I think you're right, man. Chris, what do you think about the Western Conference trend?
Yeah, Will Hardy solidified that, or really is justify that 5-year contract in his first 15 games. So it's fine. Utah, I think maybe they had a conversation. Danny Ainge is like, all right, man, it's done. Let's lose some games here because I forget which game I was watching for Utah, but they were in it, or maybe it was like the Bulls game because they were very competitive, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, Utah is going to lose this game to Chicago, I guess. But it didn't seem as competitive at the end. But what was the other team you mentioned? The Blazers. The Blazers.
Yeah.
I mean, Joey had a good stat with Lillard being 4-6 without him, so maybe Lillard is the key piece. It's not Jeremy Grant. Wow, hot. It's hot off the press. Maybe it is Lillard and not Jeremy Grant for the Blazers. So the only trend. What was the other trend? The
Golden State was the other trend for the Western Conference I had.
So Golden State already had the top starting lineup in the league. It's just their bench is hot. There's a comparison with Jordan Poole and Lonnie Walker the fourth, and Lonnie Walker is looking better than Jordan Poole right now. So the contract's looking kind of rough. James Wiseman is
he's in the G League.
Doing great in the G League. He's not like usually when you go to the G League, it's like, oh, get some confidence. He's not really doing that in the G League, so it's kind of a little concerning. Kuminga's coming around a little bit. Maybe he's going to do all right, but that's the trend. I think, but the Warriors are going to be fine. And the Blazers though trending down. I think that'll trend up, and then Jazz will continue to come down. Warriors will go back up.
Yep, I think you guys hit it right on the head there. So let's go to the the Eastern Conference trends. I had two teams trending. Teams that started off a little rough and then seemed to be kind of finding their form in Miami and Philly. We thought there would be obviously top 6 contenders, probably top 4 contenders. Miami 6-4 in their last 10 on a 3-game win streak. Philly is 7-3 in their last 10, also on a 3-game win streak. So, and Harden coming back for Philly. Chris, what do you think, man? Is this sort of are these trends real here for these teams?
No, Miami is going to continue to suffer. Screw this team, man. I'm out. Like when the Blazers beat them, was without Jimmy Butler, and I think this team just can't stay healthy, and they have 7 guys. You can't go a whole full 82 season with 7 guys on your roster, especially with Max Strus, who's actually a very good player, and I keep thinking he's not. But Duncan Robinson, the $84 million contract is just another abomination of a contract by Miami. They keep doing that. They keep signing these weird white dudes that shoot threes to like very large contracts that don't work out. So no, not Miami. And then the Sixers will be fine. The Sixers are at least still very competitive.
Yeah.
Tobias Harris is the mid guy, and I want nothing to do with Philadelphia unless I am receiving a payment from them, and then I'll change my opinion. But Embiid needs to I don't want to talk about Philly. It's fine. They're good.
It's fine. The mid god. I think that should be Tobias's new nickname.
The mid god.
The mid god. Joey, what do you think of these Eastern Conference trends, man?
Chris is spot on. Miami is. I think Miami's done. I think this is the last season we see of this version of the Miami Heat. The 7-player thing just can't work. Especially when like Jimmy is great, but he's not top 5, right? He's not one of those guys.
He was flirting with that superstardom for a while, right? There was talks of that, and now it's just kind of gone away.
In the bubble, right? Everybody saw him in the bubble, and it was like he took over a few games, and he's hard hat in the lunch pail, as to quote Stacey King, right? Like he's that guy for you, but like you shouldn't be counting on Jimmy Butler to win you games, game in and game out, right? Like every game of the season, like that's not who he is, and you paired it with Kyle Lowry, who we've seen, right, doesn't really have it anymore. And Tyler Hero, Bam has not been as great as he needs to be. So that team, I think, gets shaken up at some point this season or, at the end of this season. So I think they're on their slide. And then Philly, I think, Chris is right again. Philly is where they're at. Embiid is going to be unstoppable still. Phillies kind of seems to be flying under the radar this season.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's probably actually a really good thing for them. I think there's, the pressure's off of them. They're just kind of doing what they do. Nobody's expecting a whole lot out of them. But I mean, I don't know of anybody who'd want to catch Embiid in a playoff series because he's going to give you 62 points, whatever he did, like, that one night, like he can do that. And he does it with more. Not saying he's better than Giannis, but like there's more grace and a little bit more skill to his game than Giannis, and I wouldn't want to see any part of that.
No, it does feel like the consensus in the Eastern Conference is Boston and Milwaukee, and like that they're just going to walk to the conference finals. But I do think you're right on track there. I think Philly's going to have a little something to say before that matchup can happen. So definitely interesting. You guys got anything? Any last notes here before we kind of sign off for the night? Ready for another week of games?
Another week of games.
Another week of games.
Another week of games.
So excited.
Hey,
it's right. I might have to just stop watching the Timberwolves for. Oh, they're winning right now. Let's not talk games.
Good game talk.
Game talk.
No game talk.
1.8 half.
No game talk. But who's the team you guys are going to be watching? Like, who's a highlight for you? I always mention like 5 teams a week. I'm just going to focus on like 2 now.
Let me see who I'm thinking of watching this week. I know go ahead.
I think we gotta start watching Dallas more. Luka had another 40-point triple-double last
we
night.
even mentioned that Warrior. That was a beautiful game.
Right.
That
And
Warrior. There was the most travels ever called in an NBA game was in that game, though. That was a weird finish.
interesting.
That Curry travel at the end wasn't. I don't think that was a travel. I feel like Hard made a career off of that kind of move. The fact they called it travel and it was
good for everybody.
I don't know. It's kind of strange. Yeah.
But like Dallas is 10-10, and Luka is having.
Yeah, he's
likely having the MVP season, right? It's seeming more and more likely at this point.
The numbers he put up were stupid.
But I mean, that's got to become must watch.
Yeah, so Mavericks. I'll make point of the Mavericks and also the Kings. The Beam has been. I want to go to a Kings game.
Light the beam.
I think the teams I'm going to
Herder.
be kind of looking at is the Nuggets and the Suns. I kind of want to see they're top 2 in the Eastern Conference right now, so I'm going to kind of see what's going on, checking out some of those games.
Talk about a team going on the radar, the Nuggets.
Yeah,
sure.
that's what I want to see how Jamal's been doing, how Jokic is doing. Let's see what's going on.
Bruce Brown's been doing, yeah.
Yep, I'm
Aaron
starting
Gordon's
locking in on
been doing
contenders now.
And the Clippers. Clippers are 13-9.
Yeah, sneaking up there.
All right, let's stop mentioning teams, guys.
What are we just doing? Listen,
let's not mention the Clippers. No, fuck that. Like Norman Powell got 32 points off the bench. They're gonna have nights like that.
Let's watch the Pacers too. And,
hey, the Pacers are 9-3 in the last 12, with one of the losses coming to the Minnesota. Tyrese Halliburton had 40 assists without a turnover, which is the first time it's ever happened ever.
Wild.
Benedict Matherin's now the rookie of the year because Benedict beat LeBron. Like he said he would or he wanted to. So, anyway, sorry. My team is just going to be. I like the Dallas thing. I'm going to watch Dallas.
I like Dallas.
All right, we're locking in for Dallas. We're locking in for the Nugs. Well, that is it for us tonight.
Mavericks Nuggets.
Mavericks Nuggets. Mavs Nuggets.
Mavs Nuggets.
All I heard was a knew it was coming. Looks like.
Join us next week to talk more NBA basketball and just general silliness. Follow us at Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch at the Box Out Boys. Slide in those DMs. Join us live Wednesdays around 8:30. Send us an email to theboxoutboys@gmail.com. And as always, like, subscribe, and review wherever you're listening to this at now. We very much appreciate that. So for Chris, Joey, and Adam, I'm Tyson. Until next time, Box Out.
Bow, bow, bow.